provide students and audiences with the best possible musical experiences, it is essential to understand that the conditions under which we present and hear music affects its aesthetic quality. The performance of music falls naturally into four classes: art music, educational music, functional music, and entertainment music. Music of high aesthetic quality is possible in each class, but is subject to the conditions of the performance. Art music provides musicians and audience with the highest quality of experience. It is also the most unequivocal in definition. The other three classes are more clearly defined by how their conditions and functions differ with art music. Art music is defined by four conditions, all of which must always be present. 1. Art music is inspired. The composer has made an honest attempt to communicate genuine feelings. 2. Art music has no purpose other than the communication of its own aesthetic content. 3. Art music enjoys a performance faithful to the intent of the composer. 4. Art music must have a listener capable of contemplation. If any of these conditions are missing, the performance results in a lesser aesthetic experience. Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, played by a great orchestra in a stadium during the halftime of a football game, would fail for the lack of the presence of condition number 4. There is no listener contemplating the music. Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, played in a concert hall with an attentive audience, but performed by a terrible orchestra, would fail for the lack of the presence of condition number 3. A performance must be faithful to the intent of the composer. Educational music may or may not have the same conditions as art music, except for condition number 2. Educational music is didactic. It has the specific and additional aim to educate. Functional music is music put at the service of something else. This includes all kinds of religious music, music for weddings, music for the military, and occupational music. Functional music may share the same conditions as art music, except for condition number 2. How can a Mozart Mass be called functional music and not art music? If the observer were not contemplatively listening to the music, but were rather contemplating religious thoughts, then the Mozart Mass becomes merely a very high level of functional music. If, on the other hand, the observer is a contemplative listener of music, forgetting about religion, then the Mozart Mass is art music, but has failed in its purpose as church music. Entertainment music has no purpose other than to please, which is missing condition number 4, the contemplative listener. For this reason, entertainment music may be inspired music, but the composer is unlikely to be inspired by lofty and noble emotions, knowing there will be no contemplative listener. It's for these reasons that entertainment music can never be art music. They can never be the same thing because of condition number 2. Art music has no purpose other than the communication of its own aesthetic content. It is inconsistent with the nature of great art to have any extrinsic purpose, including the purpose to entertain. The great musicians have always understood a certain duty in their art, which was to lead the public to higher aesthetic purpose by way of example. It takes great courage and conviction to pursue the highest goals in music, when the public is so easily satisfied by a diet of only entertainment.